Hello my dear students, how are you well? Welcome to Miss Physics. Here is your Rinky ma'am and today we are going to start Physics Numerical Solution from HC Verma, Physics and Mathematics Chapter 2, Class 11. So without wasting time, let's start today's numerical solution. So students, here is your first numerical. Just read aloud the numerical. A vector A makes an angle 20 degree and B makes an angle of 110 degree with the x-axis. The magnitude of these vectors are 3 meter and 4 meter respectively. Find the resultant. Now see the figure here I have drawn A and B vector. A vector makes an angle 20 degree and B vector makes an angle 110 degree. And this is the resultant vector R. Okay. Because A and B are here, so obviously the resultant would be in between them. Now you just write down the values of given values. That is, mod A is equal to 3 and mod B is equal to, you have 4. Okay. Now you have to find out the resultant, right? So in the resultant vector, you have to find out two things. One is magnitude, another is direction. Always remember. So here the magnitude of capital R, you wanna calculate, then the formula is very known to you. That is a square plus b square plus 2ab cos theta. And also the derivation is also in your syllabus. You must practice it. Okay. So root over of a square means you have 3 square plus 4 square plus 2 into 3 into 4 cos you have 90 degree is equal to root over of 9 plus 16 is equal to, obviously if you calculate it, you will get it as 5. So this is the magnitude. The next is direction. Direction means obviously the angle. Okay. Now therefore tan alpha, this derivation is also in your syllabus. You must practice it. B sin theta over A plus B cos theta is equal to, B means you have 4, right? 4 sin theta is 90 degree and here you have A means 3 plus 4 cos 90 degree. If you calculate it, here you see you are getting 4 over 3. Therefore, alpha is equal to tan inverse 4 over 3, right? So, if you calculate it, alpha is equal to, you will get it as 53 degree. But this is not the answer because this alpha is nothing but the angle which is creating by R with A. So, this is that alpha. But we have to find out the angle which is making R with your x-axis. Okay. So if this is your alpha and if this is your 20 degree, then the whole angle would be what? Very simple, alpha plus 20 degree. So you just write down the answer. That is the angle, that is the angle with x-axis is equal to 53 plus 20 degree is equal to 70, is equal to, you are getting it as 73 degree. So this is the answer. So this is the second numerical. You have to read aloud that numerical, just like let A and B, the two vectors of magnitude 10 unit each, if they are inclined to the x-axis at angles 30 degree and 60 degree respectively, find the resultant. So this is the problem. Now the figure I have drawn here, you see this is the vector A which is making an angle 30 degree, and this is the angle, this is a vector B which is making an angle 60 degree with your x-axis. Okay, this problem is almost similar to the previous one. Now if A and B vectors are here, so what would be the angle between them? The angle theta would be obviously 60 degree minus 30 is equal to 30 degree. Okay, again you have to find out the resultant, that means magnitude and direction, both you have to calculate. So the formula we know. Before that, let me just draw the resultant. Obviously the resultant would be in between them. So this is that resultant vector. Okay, suppose I am giving the name as R again. So therefore the magnitude capital R is equal to, again the same formula, a square plus b square plus 2ab cos theta. Right. Now here you see A is equal to mod A, 10 unit given, and again mod B would be also 10. So you know all the values, you just have to put it over here. That is, here you have 10 square plus 10 square plus 2 into 10 cos of, you have to put the value of theta, that is 30 degree. Therefore, if you calculate it, you will get the value as 19.31. Is the magnitude of this resultant vector. Now as I told you that now you have to calculate the direction, which means angle. For that, first we have to calculate tan alpha. Now the formula is tan alpha is equal to b sin theta over a plus b cos theta. So you know all the values, you just put it over here. That is b is equal to 10, sin you have 30 degree, right? Over a means 10 plus 10 sin you have cos 30 degree. So if you do the calculation, what you will get, you see that 10 sin 30 degree means, we know the value of sin 30 is half. So multiplied with half over 10 plus 10 cos 30 means root 3 by 2. So is equal to 5 over 10 plus 5 root 3. So if you do the calculation, then you will get the answer as 15 degree. Okay. Therefore, here you are getting two values. One is magnitude and another is angle alpha. But alpha is the angle which is between the R and your, you go to the figure, then you see that alpha is the angle between R and A. Right? But we have to find out the angle between R and X axis. So obviously we have to add it, that is alpha with the 30. Now the value of alpha already we have got, that is 15, with it would be alpha plus 30 degree is equal to, you have 15 degree plus 30 degree is equal to 45 degree. So this is the angle between your R and X axis. So this is the answer. So students, here is the third numerical. You have to read aloud. Add vectors A, B and C each having magnitude of 100 unit and incline to the x-axis at angles 45 degree, 135 degree, 315 degree respectively. Okay, now you have to find out the resultant of this vector. So see how to do it. Here is the vector A, which is having an angle 45 degree with x-axis. Okay. Now the second one having 135 degree. So obviously this is 90, 45 degree. So that is giving you total 135 degree. That is giving you 135 degree. Okay. And the last one is having angle 305 degree. I am giving you another color. Identify it well. So this is your value, that is 315 degree. See, this is your 180 degree. Then you have another 90 degree. Then therefore 270 degree plus 45 is giving you 315 degree. Now this is the most important point. You listen to me carefully. Okay. Here you see that B and C both are having same value, that is 100 unit, and both are having opposite direction. Isn't it? Here you see that these two one are having opposite direction and having equal magnitude. So what will happen? They will cancel out each other. Therefore, the resultant would be, we have no option, that is only A. Okay, so the resultant vector would be A with magnitude 100 unit with angle 45 degree. So the answer would be very simple. The answer would be magnitude is equal to 100 units, and the direction would be, means the angle would be, suppose alpha is equal to 45 degree. So this is the answer. So student, here is your fourth numerical. This is very easy, but still I am doing. Here you see that the two vectors are given, A and B. So I am just writing the values. A is equal to 4i cap plus 3j cap. Next is B is equal to 3i cap plus 4j cap. So you have to find out the magnitudes of first A. To know it, root over of A square plus B square, that means 4 square plus 3 square. So if you calculate it, you will get the value as only 5. Next you have to find out the magnitude of B. Again the same, that is under root 3 square plus 4 square is equal to, again if you do the calculation, you will get the value as 5. Next you have to find out mod of A plus B, right? For that you have to first calculate A plus B. A plus B is equal to, obviously 4 plus 3 I cap plus you have 3 plus 4 j cap is equal to 7 I cap plus 7 j cap. Therefore mod of A plus B is equal to root over of 7 square plus 7 square is equal to, you are getting as 2 into 7 square under root, therefore 7 root over of 2 is the answer. And the last one you have to calculate A minus B mod. So students, first you subtract A minus B is equal to, you have 4 minus 3 I cap plus 3 minus 4 j cap is equal to I cap plus again minus j cap. Okay. Now if you do the mod of it, the magnitude would be under root 1 square plus 1 square would be it is equal to root over of 2. So this is the answer. So students, now you have the fifth numerical. The numerical you can see on the screen. Refer to the figure. The figure it is given here. You see, this is that figure, and here you have to find out the magnitude, the x and y components, the angle with the x-axis of the resultant OA vector, BC vector and DE vector. Three vectors here are given. Okay. Now here I have drawn the figure. What you have to do here? First you see that the vector OA, its value is given, that is 2. Now along x-axis the component would be nothing but 2 cos theta, that means 2 cos 30 degree. Now cos 30 is nothing but we know root 3 by 2. So therefore 2 into root 3 over 2 is equal to root 3. So the value is 1.732. So this is along x-axis, the x component. Now along y component would be 2 sine 30 degree. So therefore 2 into sine 30 means half. So half giving you only 1. Right? Now for the another vector BC, which is having an angle 60 degree. So obviously along x-axis the component would be BC cos 60 degree. The value of BC is 1.5. So obviously it would be, the value would be 1.5 into cos 60 degree means half. So it would be obviously 0.75. Okay. And again along y-axis what would be the component? BC is sine 60 degree, right? So sine 60 degree means we know that 1.5 into root 3 by 2. If you do the calculation, the value you will get it as 1. Okay. So see here we have got all the values in x and y components. Now if we resolve it in x, y, then what I will get? I am just writing here in this page, that is, you see that along x-axis 1 with 1.3. So obviously along x positive y-axis it would be 1 plus 1.3. Now along x-axis, positive x-axis, you are getting it as 1.732. So you just write down here 1.732. Clear? And along negative x-axis you have 0.75. So you just write down it 0.75. And along negative y-axis you have only 1. So you just write down here. Very simple. Okay. Therefore, finally if I write it in xy, the resultant would be what? See that this is larger than 0.75. So obviously the resultant would be along positive x-axis. So you just subtract it. That is 1.732 minus 0.75. Okay. And along positive y-axis it would be 1 plus 1.3 minus 1. Okay. So therefore if you subtract it, you will get it as 0.98, and along positive y-axis it is 1.3. So these are the values of them. Okay, this would be 0.98 Let me just check. 0.98, yes, and 1.3. If you calculate it, you will get the values as this. So you see that the second one means the x and y component we have calculated. Now you have to find out the resultant magnitude. You know that here ultimately we are getting along positive x-axis, you are getting the value as your only 0.98. So you just write down it here, that is 0.98, and along y-axis you have 1.3. So what would be the resultant? The resultant vector would be something like this with an angle alpha. Okay, so the resultant, suppose r is equal to under root 1.3 square plus 0.98 square. Now if you do the calculation, the answer would be 1.6. If you do the calculation, you must put it in your calculator and you must check whether you are getting this result or not. After that, you have to find out the angle with the x-axis. Okay, so for the angle tan alpha, see from the figure you can easily write here tan alpha is equal to what? Perpendicular, that is 1.3 over 0.98. So you just write down it, tan alpha is equal to 1.3 over 0.98. Now if you divide it, then the answer would be 1.32. Therefore alpha is equal to tan inverse 1.32 is the answer. So therefore we have calculated all the values. So students, just practice the numericals, whatever we have done today, and my next video will be coming day after tomorrow. Till then, stay happy, stay healthy. Bye.